no steering wheel inputs. This is the craziest thing. Jumping right into it, is charging really that much of a hassle? For those on-the-go trips, you just roll up to the Tesla supercharger, you push a button to unlock the charging port, you pull out the adapter and you plug it on in. It's as simple as that. It's also registered with an account in your car and it pays like that as well, so you essentially have tenderless charging. I was honestly shocked at how simple and easy this process was. But charging in general is still a tough one for people to adopt, I get it. Fuel is definitely easier and faster, which makes it top dog still, but surprisingly, charging isn't that bad at all. For rental purposes, it's kind of annoying since you always have to pre-plan your trip due to finding charging stations, but Tesla actually makes it really easy and you can search for them right on your screen. I found that doing multiple short charges work best so you're not at the station for a half hour or so, but the experience couldn't be any easier and it's kind of nice to take a break. You can tell Tesla took their time and they took a lot of care and pride into building out the infrastructure first for these type of events because it really sets them apart from other manufacturers. But it's really cool how on the screen you can see how many minutes are left till your charge is completed, as well as how much juice you're getting at that exact moment and how much it costs. So all of it is really cool and intuitive, and I really like this about that. Switching gears to the exterior styling, I think Tesla did a pretty good job with not making these look too EV-like and futuristic. The Model 3 definitely still looks like a normal car and it has pretty good styling cues. It has nice edges and it's not over the top or sexy, but it's attractive. Especially when you have the right wheel combo, I've noticed. It looks even better. Before getting into the Tesla using the GTR's candle, you realize that this red is a really nice color. As you get in, everything is embraced by soft touch materials and the buttons feel good. I don't think I had a car that was built on a Friday because quality really wasn't an issue in my case. The seats were very comfortable, they're wrapped in synthetic leather and they look very nice. But my only gripe was that I thought the seats were a little too narrow despite changing many settings. But that might have just been user error, to be honest. As you get in, it's been minimalist, obviously. The buttons feel very good on the steering wheel through the scroll. And you obviously have the brains of the operation, which is your big tablet that does everything for you. I was really pleasant to find that there was so much storage as well. Obviously you don't have an engine, so you get a frunk and a trunk. But I really like this big cubby right in the center. I also like where you can keep your phone as well because it charges it and it's just a great location to keep it. Moving on to the visor, I really like it as well because it's connected via a magnet. Many other manufacturers I've seen really don't do that and it just feels good and you don't really have to worry about it. This flap here to access the mirror also feels really good and it reminds me of one of those phone cases that you had back in the day. Another really premium feature that I liked about Model 3 was the panoramic roof. I know most Teslas have this and it really does make it feel much roomier inside. It's very nice, very luxury. When I first got into the Tesla, I wasn't sure how to start it, but you get this key card that's basically your key. You tap the back near the cup holder and you just leave it in your cup holder and you're good to go. It's kind of intuitive and it's kind of easy to use, but the key is kind of better in my opinion with the fob. But in order to drive and do everything else, you just push the stalk in the direction you want and you push it in for P for park and then displays it on the screen. So jumping back to the big center console tablet, it's your home base. You literally do everything from here. I'm sure you guys have seen this before. And I thought Tesla did a great job with their ecosystem and integration. This is the first time I'm ever using it. I have a few gripes, right? I wish there was a little screen above the wheel for speedo, maybe energy used, turn signals, all that. But they really did a good job and they thought out many of the functions and abilities. despite having to glance over it every now and then. But everything is on here. It's your main area, and it's very intuitive, quick, responsive time. It's also good that Tesla has a sense of humor. Clearly they have a farting option, which I think is awesome. It's good to know that, some companies still have a sense of humor, of course. They also try to spice up those date nights, alright? I mean, here we go, a little bit of romance action. Shagging mode may be great, but not as great as these cameras. Let me tell you, these cameras are incredible. The clarity is so clear, and it's really nice on your turn signal that they appear. Moving on to what I was saying before is there's lots of storage, tons of storage, which is really nice. This trunk has a lot of room, which is really appreciated. Another cool feature is that in order to open it, you hit this button, and it automatically opens and closes the trunk. So you hit the button, and it automatically closes. It's kind of nice. Then, same thing with the front. You hit open, but however, you have to do it manually. So I thought that was a bit strange. I wasn't really sure why you had to do that manually, but I decided to go ahead and throw in my lens cap for reference here, just to show you how big it is. It's good enough for maybe a suitcase and maybe some groceries, but that's about it. I also like that they have the safety feature. It tells you which seatbelts are not fastened if you have kids. The next thing that actually blew my mind was the air conditioning, the HVAC controls. I was trying to figure out how you change the actual vent direction, and you actually pinch it and move it. This was like something out of a video game, sci-fi. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen. It was really intuitive, but there was a learning curve for sure. I decided to throw in the spec list just because this is the one that I had, rear wheel drive standard range model. I can go on and on about specs and everything, but it was plenty fast for what I needed, especially for a commuting car. It won't melt your face off, but the instantaneous torque of the electric motors is really awesome. It's a great feeling. If you guys have never driven one before, I definitely recommend it just to see the differences between an internal combustion engine car. I've driven a BMW i4 M50 before on the track, so I understand how much more pull a higher horsepower and torque car can be. But moving right into the actual car handling itself, it was very compliant. The low center of gravity, the way that they distributed the weight, it was great. The suspension handling, I had no qualms with it. It was very compliant while being sporty and comfortable at the same time. My wife agreed too. She had no problems or qualms with it. Now, moving on to autopilot, it was amazing. I highly recommend it. I don't think you need the top of the line option. The one that we had for like $6,000 was awesome. Okay, so this is gonna be an example of Tesla autopilot in the Model 3. So right now, nice open highway. So hold the stalk down, see it change, and then double tap, and now we're in autopilot. So my hands are free. This is pretty wild. We've never done anything like this before. I mean, this is fully autonomous. Look, my foot is off the gas. Look, I had a little hesitation there, but it turned for me. So it's pretty insane. Let's see. This has GPS on right now. We're supposed to go left. Oh, it's following the GPS. Still hands free. Let's see about this. Oh man, even brake. This is creepy. This is crazy. This is really intuitive though. Yep, still didn't touch the brake, gas, no steering wheel inputs. This is the craziest thing. So this ultimately leads me to my final point. As cool as autopilot is, and getting used to electric car habits like regenerative braking and charging, would I ultimately buy one? Well, I thought long and hard about this, and I wanted to make this an unbiased review of what my overall impressions were. At first, I wasn't overly impressed even after having been in other electric cars, just not for daily usage, just track use. The lack of Apple CarPlay and Android Auto support was pretty annoying in my opinion, but the more I drove it, the more I enjoyed the car and appreciated how much thought went into Teslas and how straightforward it was for certain things. This seemed to be a main focus for them and not an afterthought, as I mentioned before. When you combine their ecosystem, which is like the Apple of cars, and the overall driving dynamics, safety features, and now current price of I think it's around roughly $39,000, and it's available for tax incentives, I would definitely buy one. It's a hard concept to grasp though. You basically just have to drive one. This is all I can say. Any electric car for that matter, they really appreciate it. It's a great all-arounder and it just works. Would it replace my Mustang or dinosaur burning fuel car for the weekends? Absolutely not. But these fill a void that makes sense for a lot of people in certain situations. As long as the adoption is linear with the infrastructure, they don't cost an arm and a leg, and are not forced down our throats, which seems to be the case, it would be great to see. It would also be great to see a hybrid in efficiency and performance applications being integrated more before the full shift to electric, since the infrastructure and resources are costly and have large open-ended questions on sustainability. But in the end, cars sell themselves, and every auto manufacturer wants a piece of this electric pie. See you guys later.